So the poem If, I'll keep it this way. Right. So this poem was written by Rudyard Kipling and it was written in 1909. And why did he write this poem? He had written a story, Brother Square Toes, and he wrote this poem as a sequel so that people could understand the meaning of his story. And this story, Brother Square Toes, is a story about George Washington and about the time when he was president during the French Revolution and all the trials and tribulations and difficulties that he faced and how he faced them. So he wrote a story on that. And then he wrote this poem. And this poem was meant to actually, back up the story and explain children why the story is so important to read. In this poem, If, he actually conveys a kind of a moral lesson not only to a young man, like he addresses him as his son, but he also wants us readers, the people who read his poem, to understand what he wants to say. Um, in this poem, basically, what he tells his son, in a way, or the reader, is what moral qualities we need so that we can be perfect people, almost, so that we can face any difficulty. He says you have to be self-confident, you have to not give up, you have to be humble and not waste time. He says if you do these things, you'll win, you'll be a victor, you'll be the perfect man. So there are 4 stanzas. I'm going to go through each stanza very carefully, and please make notes as I go through. I'm just take a final peek at a chat, and that is yeah, you have to know the poems. You have to know the poems, oops, so that you can answer these questions. Because we'll ask you literary terms on these poems. We'll ask you questions based on these type of questions. But I'll come to that later. Let's start with the explanation. So I'm going to view as a single page so that I can zoom on the stanzas. Okay, now the first one. So if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, if you can keep your head, if you can remain calm when everybody around you is losing theirs, is losing their head, they're losing their patience and blaming it on you. And they're actually blaming you for the fact that they've lost their patience. But stay calm, he says. If you can just stay calm. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, be self-confident, trust yourself, stand by what you say. Even when all men doubt you, they don't believe in you, trust yourself. But at the same time, make allowance, consider for their doubting too. But try and think, hey, fine, I have the self-confidence, I know what I'm doing, but still people are doubting me. Why are they doubting me? Try and think of that as well. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, waiting is important. It helps us gain self-control. It helps us be disciplined. It's not an easy thing to do, but try and wait. If you're waiting for something, wait. Don't get tired by waiting. Have patience again. Or if you are lied about, if people tell lies about you, don't deal in lies. Don't go on and tell lies about them as a retaliation or in return. Or being hated, or if people hate you, don't give way to hating. Don't start hating them as well. There's no need. Yet, don't look too good and not talk too wise. Don't look too good. If you can do all this, if you're patient, if you have self-confidence, if you can wait, if you don't deal in lies, if you don't hate people, yet even if you have all these qualities, he says, don't look too good. Don't be too proud. Nor talk too wise. Nor talk like someone who thinks he's a wise one and the others are all fools. Be humble, in other words. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can look into the future, if you can dream things, if you want things, but don't make dreams your master. Don't follow your dreams blindly, because your dreams must have a goal. That's what he says. If you can think, of course, you can think, you can imagine, you want victory, you want success, but don't make thoughts your aim. Don't let them control you, because every thought must lead to an action. But if you only dream and think and let your dreams control you, let your thoughts control you without doing a single thing, well, that's not the right thing to do. If you can meet with triumph and disaster, triumph is success, disaster is failure. And notice that both the words start with a capital letter, T and D. So, in other words, Rudyard Kipling is treating these two words, these ideas, as persons. This is a pure example of personification. So if you can meet success and failure and treat those two imposters just the same. Who is an imposter? An imposter is someone who pretends to be someone he is not. So he says success and failure are like two imposters. Why are they two imposters? Because it's very difficult to tell whether success is success and whether it's not disguised as failure. What he means to say is sometimes when you win, that could actually mean your defeat. And sometimes when you lose, when you fail, that could actually lead to your victory. So these are two imposters. You never know what they have in store for you. But he says, treat them just the same. So if you succeed in something, don't start rejoicing, and think that success is better than failure. Treat them the same, because failure can also lead you to bigger successes. So treat them the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, so if you believe in something, in a truth, right? And if you can bear that truth, if you can stand by the choices and by the principles that you live by, even though that truth will be twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, that truth may be twisted, may be misrepresented by knaves, by naughty people, by dishonest people, in order to fool other people, in order to make a trap for foolish people. He says, even then, stand by the truth that you believe in. Or if you have to watch the things you gave your life to, you worked your entire life for a certain thing, and you have to watch those things get broken, fall down, and crumble. Don't give up, he says. Stoop, he says, bend down low and build them up again with the worn out tools, with all the weak strength that you may have left, with all the limited resources that you may have left, because you've lost everything. But don't give up. So stoop and build them up again. If you can make one heap of all your winnings, if you can make one pile of all your winnings, everything that you've achieved in your life, imagine you put them all in one bag and then you risk all of them in one turn of pitch and toss. Pitch and toss is a game of luck in which, a player, he throws coins at a mark, and then the one who throws the nearest to that mark tosses all the coins, and then he keeps those that come down with heads up. So in other words, what he's saying is that you risk everything at one chance. He says, if you have the courage. This third stanza is a stanza that represents leadership. Who is a true leader? True leader is one who can risk all his achievements to chance, in one chance. And supposing you do this, you put all your earnings, all your winnings, all your achievements, and you just risk it to one chance, and you lose. He says, if you lose everything that you've ever had, and if you can start again at your beginnings, if you can start again from where you began, and never breathe a word about your loss, never complain about the things that you have lost, but just start. Even though it's difficult, if you can force your heart and your nerve, your brain, and your sinew, that is your muscles. So if you can force yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically to serve your turn, to help you, long after they are gone, you have no emotional strength left, no mental strength, no physical strength. You've lost everything. They're gone. But still, if you can force them to serve you, and so hold on when there is nothing in you, when there's nothing left for you to look to, or there's nothing left to help you with something. He says, except the one thing that you will have is the will, the determination. W is again with a capital W. So it's again like a personified as a person. You have only will with you. And this will, which says to them, to whom? To your heart, to your brain, to your muscles, speaks to you emotionally, mentally, and physically, and tells you to hold on, don't give up, don't give in, start again. If you have that will, that strength of will in you, you're a true leader. And the last stanza, if you can talk with crowds, crowds here means common people, ordinary people, and keep your virtue, keep your qualities, your principles, stick to your principles. You could be walking with people who do not have values, but still ordinary people. Don't be shy to be with them. As long as you can keep your values, you can be you. Or even if you walk with kings, tomorrow you may be in a very high position and you talk to kings and presidents and prime ministers. He says, don't lose the common touch. Don't feel ashamed to talk to common people, to come back to simplicity, to be able to mix with ordinary people. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, you should be a person who should not be hurt either by foes, that is your enemies, or by loving friends. If all men count with you, you are equal to everyone. They all count. They all mean something to you, whether they're enemies, loving friends, ordinary people, kings, they all have some place in your heart, but none too much. But nobody has, a higher place or a lower place. Everybody is equal for you. That's what it means. None too much. Nobody has too much of your time, too much of your, say, praise, too much of your company. Everyone the same. If you can fill the unforgiving minute, here minute is time. And why is time unforgiving? Because if you waste it, it will not come back to you. It won't forgive you. Or you were sick, or you fell down, or you had a headache. No, it doesn't consider for anyone. It's unforgiving, never comes back. You waste time, it won't come back to you. But if you can fill that minute, each minute has 60 seconds, and every second, if you can fill that every second with worthy distance run, which means that if you can just use every single second in the best possible way you can, if you can do that, then if you can do all this that I've said in the beginning, then yours is the earth and everything that's in it. Everything that the earth possesses will be yours, not figuratively, not literally, but figuratively. Everything will be yours. And which is more, and he says, the best part is, what's more, the best part is that you will be a man, my son. You will be the perfect man, my son.